Hi, this is a continuation. The person also from Washington, apart from the person who did not want me, and therefore I don't want him because it's only fair. So, to disable the dreaming and eternal maybe for him to promote any impressions or others that we are a relationship. That's why I'm doing it. That person, that the fire person that gave me some candy, that came over, that person is not, despite being in my book, someone I've ever had any sex, or that romantically from now on forward I will want that. I don't. And that is because in person that was a disillusionment, how he's unable to differentiate relationships and also unable to choose what it is that he wants. So he wants to be pursued and wants to create relationships so that I provide for him and I'm not his mama or his pseudo spouse. There's duality between imagined persons used for commerce and persons that we are married and or prevented to marry is over. So that is also now the person that I did have sex with, that was a DJ from and basically I remember everybody, every second I remember. There's not a single person I don't remember. So don't be afraid, I am not lying and or skipping unless it is to protect someone. That is why that is and that is very scarce, because very scarce are instances that lying actually is useful. Sometimes short term it is, like that family abuse for instance, and or persons that are stalked to be pursued impede work and having children, which is what well anyway, but that is personal too. That's not only work. Most of the time, that does not mean that the whole universe is my friend, or that I don't want to be paid. It just means that some persons that I know for sure that affects me personally are different first, as personal interest for own safety. That's all. And that safety of that person then comes together because that is the rule. If somebody does not understand what that person is to learn, that person then points towards genitals to have a cutlet kit and with expiration date, and promotes that lives are like in a killing machine, selective. That is not a training for police or defense. That is ignorance. Leads to destruction later on, wiping out of whoever, whatever is that is destroying ecosystem to die. That's all. That is a digression. So that person I had sex with, I also did not enjoy it quite as much. I mean, it was nice, and but see that person. So when I met him, we had a conversation. It is a young male with glasses that has long hair, whose grandparents live close to Hakim, Washington, and I saw them in the morning after we had sex, and no, it was not anything obscene. That person I could possibly continue relationship with. I wanted to, probably as a some sort of well progression towards marriage, or as some sort of if that does not work out, friendship. But that person was unable to approach. Maybe he was shy, maybe he didn't want to, I don't know. It was for me that experience, because of how my mind is built, that was suboptimal. What is suboptimal? It means that the person we sat together made no effort and started to hate me, to coerce that sexual activity, meaning I agreed to it because I could have fought with him or left. That is not that I disagreed. That is like saying, drink coffee when I want to drink that coffee. If I want to, well, if you tell me to drink it in authoritative way just to disobey not drinking it, is not making sense. If the same is with something that hurts me. So that was not that I necessarily did not want to have that sex. It's just that he was unable to behave like most men, and so that was why that what he did overall, for sure, first of all, do not make him sex expert in any way. Secondly, that person also is not sex worker. It's a young man who is looking to marry, who had two serious relationships. And the third person thing is that that man is also very nice, tender, nice person. However, I don't from now on towards the future, because it was a mutual agreement, because it was contrasted in reality. That's how it works. It was bad, in comparison to just any random sex on a random day when I was married. That is enough to say it was quite suboptimal. And the way mind is set up is that if I have less than I had, and decided to resign from, because it was also that there was more for me, and I realized that there was more, which is each person that I met, I can tell you what is less, like persons from Poland, and I can name one by one and go through it. Whatever mama cries about, or somebody else, or whatever it is a wish of sisters, or the whole idea of trafficking humans to pretend to come to work using my name to then also force me out of licenses is over. And the same is with impeding, for instance, me going to medical conferences or pursuing license. For 10 years my brother delayed that on purpose. And that is done on purpose to call me Pipunka or some other nickname, to get plenty, as much as possible, men, and then prevent me from an income and give me money, and for that money send then an impression that the younger boy or girl, since I was born, that's going on, that they will come here, those are the ones who will replace me, as if chickens in a chicken coop for soup, or a donkey to work. And that's not what's gonna happen. And how do I know that my brother, for instance, has bad intentions? Because when I'm hungry, he cannot provide basic food. He can pay a stranger so that there is a record of a transaction, or impress somebody else and lecture about being nice to benefit strangers or children or himself. And in situation when my life is in danger, he sides with whoever it is that is harming me in many occasions. So that is not family. That's why I want to change my name. Also because I'm ashamed of him sharing the same name. Now, that does not mean I don't want that money. Just don't get into an impression that him giving that money, he in any way has some sort of perks when it comes to me lacking objectivity. None of these persons, for me, can purchase work here, marriage here, or any of the connections that I know, especially if those were any of the personal connections that I met. That's called impartiality. Also based on immigration, my green card is not touchable, however it was obtained. And whoever stole, the same is with the diploma. That's just a matter of obtaining a copy. That's all. I don't need any lawyers or pay any ransoms. Coincidentally, as usual, when that was time for a license, because it's either sexual harassment, or it's violence, or it's basically robbery to prevent me from income. And then that is corroborated with family and harassing those old women that they have to have a child to deserve to go to church or whatever. So then they run around to force, even offer, have in vitro, take care of the baby, and force whoever. And those persons are stalkers forced by community because the food is not even provided. Same as it is intended for me. Meaning, what I mean by that, I don't want pseudo-charity either. I want to be paid because I'm working. Now, also, as personal matter, this is information that others can use for themselves, me excluded. So be grateful too. And that is also to benefit persons so that there's freedom. There is no brackets based on pseudo relationships and lying, creating double life in impression that the dream and life in person is not a continuity. It is. From mental health standpoint, if I speak to a person who is absent, missing that person, and vice versa, when that person is in person, the voice of that person or impression that in mind I miss so much that I want to kiss my hand instead is over because the person is present. And so the person who is rejected is when the two dream about one another, and in person they behave as if they were trying to hurt one another. That is when that rejection to continue the dream for then an income. Do you understand? And so impeding that or defending that from happening of that dream is silly, because that ends naturally. And if persons are hurt mentally to not to dream, killed or sedated, that means that in person there is hostility, so we don't do that. So anyway, that person that I had sex with, because of that consensus that it was not, we are not persons that adore one another enough to get married as a result of that sexual activity too, which was expressed of an emotional state during, and it was great. It was much more than I've had, and I find that an achievement that in nowadays, in how the world is, the expectation of purity is by screwing someone no matter what, or pretending. So I didn't do that. See, I was actually serious about that person. Otherwise, I would not have something that is called a relationship that does not lead to have children potentially. I did not harbor any disgust toward that man. On the contrary, I kind of adored how he looked like. It was a nice man. However, I don't want to have romance or long-term relationships because emotionally I actually love someone else, potentially many persons, and I had sex that was small. That makes me good looking also and a nice person to somebody else much more, and vice versa. Always, it's always a consensus. And so please take that as a respectful way. It does not mean that I don't like another Native American. For instance, the one that I never met, the one from Starbucks, if he was not married, I would prefer him. Just because how he was nice to female from his tribe or his friends. Not the one I actually went to befriend, but one that was tall, had long hair, and was I don't know, much more confident, for instance, seemed polite, and when maybe, one person, when it was my birthday, would not actually skip it on purpose to teach me that he does not care, but rap into my face that he prefers somebody else, but actually have me, I don't know, invited for a coffee or showing up to say, oh, how about we share a soda or something, which was there. That's all. I mean, or when saying that mean it once, that's that's it, and that's what makes sex absolutely a no deal, because that is disgusting. No, the sex is disgusting. In case somebody heard something else, because that is also based on that Albert thing that then persons destroy everything, every work, every even ceremony with sexual innuendo non-stop. That is what. So that person again, I give him freedom to pursue whoever it is that he wants, because I for sure 100% am not in love with him, never was and never will be, nor I want with him children, nor I want his children, nor I want in any moment also any sort of relationship, pseudo-sexual, asexual, as in couple, to pretend anything. He is a DJ. If he makes a good work, great. If not, then also fine. He is unlike the DJ that was that person that female from Poland that my brother provides for that chased after from some other place. He actually pursued me, which was nice. It was pleasant, especially from a very young man, and man that was. Very eloquent and very fit and a vegan. That was just that, he doesn't kill anything or anyone, which is the main turn off, and including self. That's nice. So that was why, but I don't feel love for him because he was still not the dream, and in mind he didn't make it. Why? Again, there are mental structures each we have. If somebody resembles or enacts whatever was hurtful in the past, or tries to mimic whatever was good, as opposed to having self as a scope of love, then that person is not loved, because that is not interesting and so.